quadrilaterals. And so this picture shows up, a version of it shows up in your books on page 17. Here, a very similar version of it. Okay, but we're just going to talk about some of the classifications for quadrilaterals. Okay, so a quadrilateral itself is just a figure with an enclosed figure with 4 straight sides. Okay, but there's some specific classifications based on properties that you'll again go through in more details in chapter 6. Okay, but a parallelogram is a quadrilateral with opposite sides parallel. The symbol that we'll use to indicate the parallelism, or the fact that it's parallel, are just arrowheads, okay, opposite one another. And so if you have arrowheads set up opposite one another, that's indicating that those opposite sides are parallel to each other. All right, so if you take a parallelogram and you have an equal angular parallelogram, so an equal angular parallelogram is called a rectangle. That means all of its angles are the same, which happen to be 90 degrees. And if you take a parallelogram that is equilateral, you have a rhombus. A rhombus means all of the sides are equal in length. And therefore, if you have a parallelogram that is both equilateral and equiangular, so equilateral, it's a rhombus. Equiangular, it's a rectangle. Then you have a square. In addition, there's another separate category for quadrilaterals if instead of both pair of opposite sides are parallel, if there's only one pair of opposite sides that are parallel, then it's called a trapezoid. And if both of the non-parallel sides in a trapezoid have equal measures, it would be referred to as an isosceles trapezoid. So once again, this would bring up some sometimes always never true type of questions that you might see. Okay, so if I were to ask you or give a statement, is this statement sometimes always or never true? A rhombus is a quadrilateral. Always true, right? It always has 4 sides. A parallelogram is a square. Sometimes true. It can be, but you can also find examples where it's not. A rectangle is a square. Sometimes, right? You can find a rectangle that is a square, but you can also find one that's not. What about a trapezoid is a parallelogram? Never true. And so, again, make sure that when you get questions like that, that you read through them carefully. And even though you can answer them almost instantaneously, give a little bit of thought to make sure you find a counterexample, or check for counterexamples, check for examples, and determine whether you have one of each or just one of them.